Hello everyone, I hope you're doing good and staying safe. Welcome to SimpliCode's YouTube channel, and in today's session, we'll be discussing about MySQL versus MongoDB. I hope my audio is fine and the screen is clearly visible. If you guys are facing any issue, do let us know in the comment section below and we'll try to fix it as soon as possible. So, as you all know, we are living and working in a data-driven world. So, if you want to make the most of the data, you need to organize easily accessible information. In other words, you need a database, right? A database is any structured information or data specially organized and stored in a computer for fast retrieval and searching of a data. Well, that's great, but there are a lot of databases out there in the market. So, which is the right one and when to use the different databases out there? Now, as you know, we have different databases like MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, Cassandra, MongoDB, and so many popular databases out there. Surely you would have heard about all these databases several times. So in today's session, we'll be discussing about MySQL and MongoDB, how they are different from each other and when to use them. But before we begin, if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, consider getting subscribed to our channel SimpliCode to stay updated with all the latest technologies. And hit that bell icon to never miss an update from us. So without any further ado, let's get started. Firstly, let us go through the agenda for today's session. We'll start the tutorial by understanding what is MongoDB, and then we'll go through and understand and why we use MongoDB, and after that we'll be discussing some features of MongoDB. Up next, we'll discuss how exactly MongoDB works, and after that we'll be discussing some advantages of MongoDB over MySQL, and then we'll have a detailed comparison between these two databases, that is MySQL versus MongoDB, and finally we'll understand which is the better database and when should we be using these two databases. Alright, so what is MongoDB? MongoDB is an open source non-relational database developed by MongoDB Inc. MongoDB stores data as documents in a binary representation called BASON or binary JSON format. Related information is stored together for fast access query through the MongoDB query language. Now, fields can vary from document to document in the MongoDB database, so there is no need to declare the structure of the documents to the system. So documents are self-describing here. So if a new field needs to be added to a document, then the field can be created without affecting all the other documents in the collection. Now, MongoDB is a non-relational database system, which is a document-based database. Now, there are two primary databases type, as we know, that is SQL, which is a relational, and a NoSQL, which is non-relational, and MongoDB is also based on that. Now, relational databases store data in columns and rows. So, organizations like Microsoft use Microsoft SQL Server to use the relational database management system. While on the other hand, NoSQL database stores schema-less unstructured data in a multiple collections and nodes. Non-relational database don't need fixed table schema, whereas NoSQL databases are scaled horizontally and support limited join queries. So that was about MongoDB, guys. So let us now understand what is MySQL. As you all know, MySQL is a popular open source relational database management system which is developed, distributed, and supported by Oracle Corporation. Like any other relational database system, MySQL stores data in tables and uses structured query language or SQL for database access. In MySQL, you predefine your database schema, right, based on your requirement and set up rules to govern the relationship between the fields in your table. So any changes in schema necessitates a migration that can take a database offline and significantly reduces the application performance. So that was about MySQL. So let us now move ahead and discuss why we exactly use MongoDB. Now, MongoDB uses the hierarchical storage structure instead of a table-like structure. As we discussed earlier, RDBMS stores the data in the form of a table which comprises of rows and data. Now, MongoDB uses documents that contain sub-documents in a complex hierarchies, making it expressive and more flexible. Now, MongoDB can map objects from any programming languages, ensuring easy implementation and maintenance. MongoDB is used to handle large amounts of complex unstructured data. Now, unlike MySQL, you only work on structured data. That is, which has a proper structure, for example, name, a sort of like that. So in that case, we use MySQL. But whereas compared to my MongoDB, it only handles large amounts of complex unstructured data. MongoDB is open source, less and has less server cost, and it has no fixed schema. So NoSQL database, or in particular a MongoDB databases, are cheaper and easier to maintain. These databases have features like easier data distribution, simpler data models, aggregation, file storage, indexing, and many more. These benefits require less administrative cost and consequently are less expensive. Alright, let us now discuss some of the features of MongoDB. MongoDB is a general purpose language. MongoDB can serve diverse sets of data and multiple purposes within a single application, where it uses document-oriented type of database to store data. It has a flexible schema design. The document-oriented approach allows non-defined attributes to be modified in a single go or on the fly. This is a key contrast between the MongoDB and other relational databases like MySQL. Scalability and load balancing. Now, MongoDB is built to scale both vertically and horizontally using the technique of sharding. An architect can achieve both write and read operation scalability in this. Data balancing occurs automatically and transparently to the user by the shard balancer. Now, we'll be discussing about all this in our upcoming video, wherein we'll discuss what exactly is MongoDB and in a detailed manner. So in that time, we'll be discussing about this. So for now, let's just keep it simple and we'll understand how it is. Aggregation framework. Now MongoDB offers an extract, transform and load, which is an ETL operational framework which eliminates the need for complex data pipelining. And finally, just like any other databases, it has high performance as well as speed. So those were some of the important features of MongoDB. Alright, let us now understand how MongoDB exactly works, guys. Now the entire database of a MongoDB consists of collections. These collections hold multiple documents, and since MongoDB is a schemaless, the documents in one collection need not be similar. So it can be of different types. Now all data is stored as JSON documents with the help of a key value pair. Now at the backend, MongoDB converts JSON data into a binary format known as BSON. MongoDB also makes provision for nested data. This makes fetching data comparatively efficient. Now if I want to tell you guys how exactly MongoDB works and how is it different from MySQL. Now, instead of tables, a MongoDB database stores its data in collections. So basically, we have a database in both these MySQL and MongoDB, but instead of the tables in SQL or MySQL, we have the collections. Now, a collection holds one or more JSON documents. Now, documents are analogous to records or rows in a relational database table. Now, each document has one or more fields, and fields are similar to the columns in a relational database. So this is basically an example of how a document look like in a MongoDB database, guys. So we have various fields here such as ID, first name, last name, address, street, city, state, and zip, and hobbies. So instead of storing them in a row and column, we are just storing it as a document file here. So that is what MongoDB is and how it exactly works. Alright, moving ahead, let us now discuss some of the advantages of MongoDB over MySQL. Now, one of the biggest advantages of using MongoDB is it has flexible document schema. Now, schema design for a database is critical, and choosing the right schema for your application impacts the performance and affects its ability to adapt over changing business requirements. So MongoDB is a great choice for modern applications as it offers a flexible schema design that allows you to meet the ever-changing condition characteristics of complex and big data applications. So unlike MySQL, where you need to define a schema while creating a new table, that is the whole structure of the table, as in which the attribute type, you have to allot the primary key and so on. So in MongoDB, you are not required to do that. You can just directly go with it. Now, the second advantage is, of course, it is an open source and it incurs few server costs. So as discussed earlier, MongoDB is an open source and it incurs fewer server costs. So open source is always free. So NoSQL databases use cheap servers. So the price of data storage and processing is also significantly lower as well. And it is also easily and highly scalable. That means NoSQL databases like MongoDB expand horizontally. That means you can scale by adding more machines like CPU and RAM to your resource pool. And finally, it is schemaless and user-friendly as well. Now, MongoDB has no schema hassles. You can place data into a NoSQL database without requiring a predefined schema. So you can change the data model and formats without disrupting the applications or changing the data structures as well. And it is also user-friendly, guys. It offers plenty of useful features like cab collection, file storage, indexing, load balancing, replication, server-side JavaScript execution. That makes it a user-friendly database. Alright, moving ahead, let us now discuss how MongoDB and MySQL are different from each other. Now, when I talk about MySQL, it stores each individual record or data as a table cell within a particular row and column. So if you want to inculcate a new data into a particular table, it is always defined into a table with a particular schema and structure, and it is stored in the formats of rows and columns. Whereas MongoDB, it stores unrelated data in JSON-like documents after converting into a JSON file. Now, MySQL requires a schema definition for the tables in the database. So as we discussed earlier, before creating a table, you need to specify the structure or the schema, that is the attributes and the values that has to be present in it. Whereas MongoDB doesn't require any prior schema. MySQL supports structured query language, which is its SQL, which is used to access and manipulate the data in the database. MongoDB uses JavaScript or JSON or JQL as a query language. MySQL supports join operations. That is, you can join one or more multiple tables using various join operations like inner join, outer join, left join, and outer join. While in MongoDB, we does not have the option of join. And finally, MySQL databases can be scaled vertically, whereas MongoDB database can be scaled both vertically as well as horizontally. Alright, that brings us to the end of today's session, and which also brings us to the main question, that which database you should be using. Now, although MongoDB is a great database, there are times when you should and you shouldn't use it. It's not universally applicable, guys. So like any other tool, it has certain limitations and drawbacks as well. But if you're working on a database, for example, requires multi-row transactions and has structured data with a clear schema, and if you're performing various transactions, in that case, MySQL is a good choice. Now, MongoDB works best with unstructured data, so it's great for complex big data systems, guys. So if you are using even cloud computing, MongoDB is very ideal for cloud computing as well. Cloud-based storage needs to easily distribute data across multiple servers, right? So which basically suits MongoDB nature perfectly. Also, you can use MongoDB if you have a need to fast and easy accessible of data. So using MongoDB when you're running performance critical applications. So in that case, you can use MongoDB, which offers high data availability, providing instant and automatic data recovery. And that brings us to the end of today's session, guys. That was all about MySQL and MongoDB and how they are different from each other. So stay tuned to the channel for our upcoming video, wherein we'll discuss clearly and in more detail about MongoDB, where we'll discuss how it exactly works, where it has initially started, and why is it a good choice for you when you're working on a complex data structures. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I hope you found this tutorial informative and helpful. If you did, make sure to leave a like and share it with your friends and colleagues. If you have any further queries regarding any of the topics covered in today's session, feel free to let us know in the comment section below, and a team of experts will be more than happy to help resolve all your queries at the earliest. Until next time, stay safe and keep coding.